What is going on, internet world? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying team on YouTube. And we are here today with our Week 6 battle of the NPBA against the Roaring Spheals and Coach Cringemaster. This is going to be a great match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our Week 6 matchup for the NPBA against Coach Cringemaster and the Roaring Spheals. He's got a really tough team, but I think we have a decent squad to take him on this week. His first mon is Kyurem, an incredibly scary wall breaker, an ice and dragon type with the pressure ability, massive attack and special attack at base 130 in each, with very respectable speed at 95 and very solid natural bulk even with a poor defensive typing. Draco Meteors, Ice Beams, and Freeze Dries hit incredibly hard, especially off something like Choice Specs. Gets an excellent coverage moveset such as Earth Power, Focus Blast. Can also run physical sets with stuff like Dragon Dance and Icicle Spear and Outrage. So Kyurem definitely messes me up this week. Definitely expecting just Choice Spec set because Draco Meteor, Freeze Dry, Earth Power, and then something else will really mess up my team. I don't have a whole lot that switches into it. Next up is Cinderace, a very offensive fire type with the Blaze ability. No Libero, which is good, but it's still a very, very scary threat. Fireball is incredibly spammable, coming off of its base of 116 attack and 119 speed is a very solid speed tier. Gets other good moves such as High Jump Kick, and Headbutt, Gunk Shot. It's a good pivot with U-Turn and Court Change. Hazards around, which is kind of spooky, so probably expecting Cinderace this week. I don't have a whole lot of stuff that switches into Powerballs, and you can run High Jump Kick to hit stuff like Gigalith, and you can also try to status into something like Dracovish, which could be pretty bad. Next up is Deoxys Defense, an incredibly bulky Psychic type with the pressure ability. It's a very good hazard stacker, a good teleport pivot. It can do a couple other things. That is consistent damage with Seismic Toss and Nightshade. It can run Calm Mindsets. So I'm not really expecting Deoxys this week. I have a couple of things that kind of mash it through, like Urshifu and Aegislash. I can't really touch some of my other things, like Amoonguss. So probably not expecting Deoxys this week. Next up is Nidoking, an incredibly scary wall breaker with sheer force. Poison and ground type, incredibly scary with base 85 speed. It gets an absolutely insane move pool, with Sludge Wave and Earth Power being fantastic dual stab. It also gets Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Surf, Focus Blast. It can run physical moves like Poison Jab, Earthquake, Crunch, and Superpower. So definitely expect Nidoking. I don't have anything on my team that switches into it reliably, so it can probably just come in, click a couple moves, and take a kill. Next up is Sylveon, a very bulky fairy type with the Pixelate ability. It's a very good Wish Passer and Cleric, and very bulky with 130 special defense. Definitely just expecting a physically defensive Sylveon this week. It's his best way for him to try to switch into something like an offensive Urshifu. So Wicked Blow, if I'm like Adamant Choice Band, only does up to like 44%. He can obviously be running something like a Kibia Berry to switch in to a Poison Jab, or a Babiri Berry to switch into an Iron Head, but it's pretty tough for him to switch in against Urshifu regardless. Next up is Mega Sharpedo, an incredibly potent cleaning threat. He doesn't have to first turn Mega, so he can protect, get a speed boost, and then just start mashing stuff with Strong Jaw Crunches, Ice Fangs, Psychic Fangs, and Liquidations in the late game. At base 140 attack, those moves hit incredibly hard, and then post-Mega 105 speed tier, especially if something like +1 from pre-Mega speed boost, it makes an incredibly scary threat in the late game. I don't have a whole lot that switches into it. I have a kind of funky response to it this week, as you'll see, but definitely worried about Mega Sharpedo. Next up is Delmize, a very bulky Grass and Ghost type with the Seal Worker ability. Fantastic Assault Vest user with a very good move pool. Power Whip and Poltergeist is a pretty good dual stab combo. It can Anchor Shot in conjunction with Steel Worker to hit bulky fairies. It got other good moves such as Earthquake as well, and it can Rapid Spin hazards away. Could see Delmize this week. It's one of his kind of sort of better answers to Dracovish, but I could have something like a Banded Crunch that would hurt him really hard. Next up is Fortress, a very bulky Bug and Steel type, the Overcoat ability. Absolutely expecting Fortress this week as it does a bunch of good things for him. It's his best switch into Tapu Lele, resisting dual stab and not taking a bunch from its other moves, so definitely expecting just a specially defensive set. It can set hazards in my face, which my team doesn't really love. It gives him a slow pivoting option into his big attackers, and then it has the Overcoat ability, which means it can switch in on Amoonguss incredibly safely. It doesn't have to worry about Spore, and then I obviously can't touch it with something like a Giga Drain or a Sludge Bomb. Next up is Hitmontop. Pretty bulky and versatile fighting type with the Intimidate and Technician abilities. With Intimidate, it makes it a pretty bulky fighting type, capable of taking on a bunch of different things. With Technician, it makes it a very versatile offensive attacker with Close Combat, Mach Punch, Triple Axle, Sucker Punch, Bullet Punch. So I'm not really expecting Hitmontop this week. It can't really touch Aegislash nor a couple of other things in my team. Next up is Jolteon, a very fast electric type with the Volt Absorb ability. 130 speed is very, very solid in conjunction with solid special attack as well. It does get to run Signal Beam as a coverage move, but even with that, its move pool is very lackluster. It pretty much only gets Thunderbolt and Volt Switch, Shadow Ball, Hyper Voice, and Signal Beam, so not really expecting Jolteon this week. He could bring it if he wants some speed control, but I think Cinderace is better for that, and Gigalith can come on this thing every single time. And then last but not least, he's got type Null, a very bulky normal type of fantastic Eviolite user with the Battle Armor ability. 95 across the board for the most part, except for 59 speed, but it's an absolutely incredible pivot with U-turn. It's very, very bulky with a solid move pool as well, so I could see type Null if he's pretty scared of something like Lele, but I think that it kind of gets mashed by a couple other things on my team. Because Lele could have Focus Blast, Urshifu and Aegis can run right through it, and it doesn't do a whole lot against something like Gigalith as well. So, with all that out of the way, let's hop into what I'm bringing this match. Leading us off, we are rocking Urshifu, Tai Long the Urshifu, coming with a funky set this week, with Leftovers and Unseen Fist, Drain Punch, Wicked Blow, Poison Jab, and U-Turn, 116 HP, 108 in attack, and then 240 in speed with the Jolly Nature. My speed investment lets me outspeed a fully invested Timid Kyurem. My HP investment lets me not get 3-shot by Adamant Mega Sharpedo Liquidations. Even in Sand, the Leftovers in Sand will cancel out. Drain Punch hits that. This is my primary switch into Mega Sharpedo. Drain Punch hits that thing very hard. Wicked Blow is just a solid move to hit a bunch of other things on his team. You know, Deoxys doesn't appreciate it. Something like Nidoking doesn't want to take a Wicked Blow. Poison Jab is there for that Sylveon. He doesn't want to take repeated Poison Jabs, even if he is very bulky. And then U-turn is just for pivoting. It also just kind of hits Mega Sharpedo pretty hard, so I can just, pivot on that safely. Get into something else if he switches out. Next up, we're rocking Acura the Aegislash, running a specially defensive set this week with Sugar Berry and the stance change ability. Shadow Ball, Flash Cannon, Close Combat, and King Shield, fully specially defensive. This is my primary switch into Kyurem. Dual Stab isn't doing a whole lot to me. Earth Power would obviously hurt, but I do have my Sugar Berry, but once that's burned, he'll be doing a whole lot with that, especially if he's Choice Specs. But Flash Cannon and Close Combat do a pretty decent number to that. Shadow Ball is just good for spamming this week. It hits pretty much everything besides type Null. And then King Shield is just there for getting back into shield form, burning some turns, maybe weakening something's attack. If he crunches into me with Sharpedo, that'd be pretty cool. I can lower its attack and then switch and tie a little bit easier. Next up, we are rocking Atrocity the Dracovish. Dracovish is running a Choice Band Sand Rush set this week with Vicious Rend, Outrage, Crunch, and Facade. 252 in attack with the Jolly Nature and 184 speed, and then the rest is thrown into bulk. He doesn't have good switch-ins for Dracovish this week. His two things that kind of sort of switch into it are Kyurem and Delmise. Neither of those wants to take an Outrage or Crunch respectively. Vicious Rend just kind of bodies the rest of his team. This thing looks fantastic in the late game, especially under Sand. I just got to get it in and start mashing Rend. Facade is there for if I get like Will-O-Wisp, by something like a Cinderace or something of the sort. That'd be horrible. But, Rend is still looking just great to just mash some stuff. He could be something like a Rocky Helmet, Deoxys D, just come and kind of stall me out by recovering up and everything. But, Vicious Rend still just looks fantastic to catch stuff on Switch, and he doesn't have anything that switches into two Vicious Rends, essentially. So, really liking Vish. I got to get in the late game, and otherwise I think it'll be totally okay. Next up, we are rocking Amoonguss Sporticus the Amoonguss with a specially defensive set this week with Black Sludge and the Regenerator ability. Sludge Bomb, Spore, Synthesis, and Protect, just fully specially defensive. This is my best switch into Nidoking. Obviously, it does have Flamethrower. That'll do a lot. Even just Dual Stab wrecks me. But this is kind of just a way to just break his spirits, try to make him pivot or do something weird. With Black Sludge and Protect, I can't get 2-shot by a Flamethrower if he's Timid, Sheer Force, Life Orb. I can just start synthesizing off, try to just stall him out a little bit, and I can put him to sleep, which is the goal essentially. Just switch in, try to take 2 Flamethrowers, put him to sleep, or force him into something else. Obviously, if he brings Fortress, that thing just comes in every single time, but I can pivot out, get some Regenerator back, and try to get into something like Tai or Accio to put on a bunch of pressure. Next up, we are rocking Revelation 19. The Tornadus, rocking a heavy-duty boot set this week with the Prankster ability, Hurricane, Nasty Plot, Taunt, and Defog. Max special attack, 208 in speed with the Timid nature, and then 48 in HP. My speed investment lets me outspeed Mega Sharpedo if he's Jolly and non-speed boosted up. Hurricane is super duper spammable in this match. The only thing that switches into Hurricane is Jolteon, and I don't really think that comes. So I have Nasty Plot to boost that up further. Taunt is there for something like Deoxys or Fortress. I can stop it from hazard stacking me. He could have Volt Switch on Fortress. That would tickle a little bit, but that's not really that strong. And he doesn't really have anything that wants to switch into a Hurricane. And then Defog is just for getting rid of any hazards that he wants to set with something like Deoxys or Fortress. So I'm really liking Rev this week. I hope it can do some work. It's just a solid early game breaker and support mon. And then last but not least, we are rocking Big Henry the Gigalith, just another specially defensive set with Smooth Rock and the Sandstream ability. Rock Blast, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Stealth Rock, fully specially defensive. This is a pretty solid switch into something like Sylveon. Hyper Voices won't be doing a whole lot, neither will Mystical Fires. I can set some Stealth Rocks. Heavy Slam rocks that thing pretty good. He doesn't have solid rock resist on this team, so Rock Blast is just good for hitting something like Kyurem. Earthquake is there from Nidoking if it wants to try to switch in and be aggressive. But this is but this thing is mostly here for Sand. I just really want Dracovish under Sand this week. I think it'll do a bunch in the late game, so I just want as many turns of Sand as possible. So even if Henry just turns into just kind of like a bag of meat to chuck out into something so that I can get Atrocity into it, I'm totally okay. So that is the team we are rocking with this match. This is going to be really tough. He's got a plethora of wall breakers that my team doesn't handle super well, and Mega Sharpedo is obviously a super duper threat in the late game that can just kind of run me through. So this is going to be tough. I got to play it right, but I'm hopeful. So with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, we're about to hop into this Week 6 match against the Roaring Spheals and Coach Cringemaster. You can see the 6 I expect him to bring up on the screen. Kyurem, Cinderace, Nidoking, Sylveon, Sharpedo, Mega, and that Fortress. I could definitely also see a couple things in there, maybe that Delmise. But you've seen the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. If you haven't, go check out the Teambuilder. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. We do see Deoxys, we do see Delmise. No Fortress is whack. No Nidoking, also kind of whack. That thing wrecked me. We do see Delmise. We do see Deoxys. I definitely would not be surprised to see a Deoxys lead. I'm going to lead Torn and try to taunt that thing, because I bet he leads that. If he leads pretty much anything else, I can switch in accordingly. But let's lead Rev. Yeah, I'm just going to taunt this thing immediately. Alright, taunt comes off. No stealth rocks for you. I'm going to flick NP. He's probably just going to Seismic Toss. He's going to knock off my boots. That's not the end of the world. I'm going to flick Hurricane. I don't know how well you want to take this. I don't know if it works. Kyurem's going to come out. I hit my Hurricane. Alright, he's dead. Well, that's a huge issue out of the way immediately. That's pretty epic. Because realistically, the only thing you can do right now... I mean, you can go into Cinderace, but... Sharp's just going to come out here. You can click Protect and get up. I can just go into tie. Fairly free. If you like flip turn out, then good play. Yeah, no. I'm just going to click U-turn. I don't think you'll stay in. You'll probably go into Sylveon. I can't imagine. Oh, this thing gets close combat. Oops. Well, you're gonna die. Super cool. I forgot that Sharpedo got CC, but you know, I was defensive anyway, or I had a decent chunk of bulk in there. So, realistically, it's not quite atrocity time, but I can just go into Henry and get my sand up anyway. It's gonna force Delmise in, and I can go immediately into Sporticus. You shouldn't be able to do too much. He's offensive with Poltergeist, that would do a decent chunk. Or I can just go into... Delmise comes out. Let's go into Sporticus. Or I can go into Rev. Now, you're not going to like a Crunch, unless you're Colbur. Well, let's just go into Sporticus. Let's see how much a Poltergeist is going to do. Oh, he's just going to go for Toxic, that works. And I'm going to click Sludge Bomb. He goes into Sylveon. Okay. I got a Poison. That's kind of sad because I can't put him to sleep anymore. But I'm going to go right into Henry. I can also go into Accio. Yeah, let's go into Accio. We're going to go into Delmise. I definitely won't be able to kill this thing with a Shadow Ball. He's not AV, obviously. Yeah, I definitely can't kill this thing. He'll be able to kill me with Poltergeist. But I just need to... I can get damage on this thing and then click Rend with Atrocity a couple times. So let's just do that. I'm okay with just letting Accio go down. I don't really care too much. Oh, he lived it. He's going to die to Sand. Oh, he missed a Power Up. Never mind. Epic. Well, Giggs is going to pick up a nice little passive kill there. Accio is still sitting here. Cindy's probably going to come out. Dio comes out. You're going to click Knockoff, so I'm just going to King Shield. Yep. Now I'm going to... I literally give zero craps about my Chickaberry at this point, so I'm going to click Shadow Ball. This will tickle a little bit. I think 41. He's leftovers. I'll click. I can either go into... I don't want to go into Henry now. You're at -1. I can't imagine this will kill me if you go for it again. I just want to be able to get into Atrocity. I would prefer to not lose my choice band. Knockoff shouldn't do anything. I'm just going to click Shadow Ball. Oh, he's going to start rocks. Lived it. King Shield this time. If he's at spikes, that's okay. Yeah. Well, I did lose my boots. But I would click Shadow Ball. He's just going to keep spike stack me. I don't really care. He comes out. I'm just going to King Shield, see what you're going to do on the off chance you click high jump kick going into, what's his face? Yeah, just Fireball. I don't know how much that's going to do, but I'm going to go into Henry. Should be able to click. Henry will probably go down to something. Yeah, Fireball. 22. I think that's not banned or anything. He'll probably go for it this time. I could go into Accio and be kind of disrespectful on the high jump kick. And then click Shadow Ball. But I don't want to do that. I'm just going to click Rock Blast. Oh, he's going to U-turn? Okay. So Sylve's going to come out. Sylveon probably dies. Nope. I mean, I'm just going to click. I'd prefer not to die, but I won't die to anything. Going into Atrocity is a horrible play. I'm just going to stay and click Heavy Slam. Lived it. Rad. Now I'm just going to let Henry go down. And just go into Division. Because I don't see a way I can get better differential out of this, so I'm just going to let Henry go down. Plus, that's just being disrespectful to try to... Let's go into the boy. Flip the move. Friend. Alright, well, that was a pretty solid game. That's what I call a riveting win. GG's to Cringemaster. A couple of things in there I think were a little questionable. Letting Kyurem go down immediately was kind of tragic. But glad Urshifu did its job. Glad Vish got to get at least one kill. And Accio doing some nice work as well. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the battle, please be sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.